Hello, my name is Joey Adams, and today we'll be looking at fundamentalists versus the people who took the more modern approach. When we say modern approach, this is relatively speaking. These folks started back in the 1700s, around 1740, and their big deal was they didn't want to look at the Bible literally, while fundamentalists wanted to look at the Bible as the Word of God, nothing else. It says this, it means this. So for today, for my post, I'm looking at something called higher criticism. One of the people who helped bring higher criticism to the forefront, at least within America, was a man by the name of Charles Augustus Briggs. He went to Germany. He saw all these people with these new ideas, with higher criticism and the like, and he tried to bring it back to America. He didn't fare so well. Briggs was literally put on trial for heresy because of his ideas. For example, he felt that Moses didn't write the Pentateuch. He had many of these other ideas that was sparked by higher criticism. And while he would be acquitted, this was still a bit mark on his life. Before we start to get into what higher criticism is, it's key that we understand what criticism is. Most times when we hear criticism, we think about people coming down on something and that type of stuff. But no, in biblical terms, when we use stuff like criticism, that's just a real in-depth study of a work. Thus, I think that brings us to higher criticism. When we talk about higher criticism, this is the process of trying to understand the words that were written in the context of the time that they were written. What this basically means is, instead of reading the Bible literally, these people would read the Bible as if they were a person back at that time in that specific area. And so they'll say, what did this text mean to these people in this place? Surely it doesn't mean what it literally states. But if I was a farmer in of Jericho, how would this affect my life? What would this mean? They also looked at who will write each thing and what would their experience bring to the table. As you can see from the picture that I placed on the slide, this is just some of the issues that these people had to face when they're studying their new form of criticism. This higher criticism can come in many different forms. For example, we have what's known as source criticism. Source criticism looks at who wrote the book. Julian Wellhausen was one of the pioneers in this area. Within this type of criticism, we have more aspects of it, even getting into psychology, scientific studies, looking at methodologies, all this good stuff. Next, we have what's known as form criticism. This breaks the Bible down into different categories, like, are these letters, are these laws, hymns, that kind of stuff. They even have what's known as the setting of life, a little phrase that highlights where did this come from, what setting was this written in, and from there they dissect it a little bit more. Lastly, they have the redaction criticism. Redaction criticism looks at what was put in, what was edited out, what was changed up a little bit. That's what this part of the criticism looks at. Many people were upset by this new view. It caused breaks, or what's known as schisms, in many different denominations, namely the Presbyterians, but they weren't the only ones. And I'm going to end it there. This topic can go on forever. It's very interesting to see the dynamics between these different viewpoints. And there are many different ways that this came to the forefront. A new look at criticisms was just one of them.